Hi friends, this is an update video. I've been a little bit absent, and that's because I've been working on photography projects, paid photography projects. I've been trying to delve into this realm full force recently, and it's been working a little bit, and I'm excited about this. In my head, I've asked myself, James, what do you want to do to make money? In the future, I want this to make me money. That's pretty cut and dry for me. I'm very sure about this, at least for now. That might change. I might become a bee farmer. Is that what they're called? Beeologist? I've asked myself, James, how do you want to make money in the meantime while you grow this YouTube thing? Because I'm still quite small. And one of the answers to that question is freelance work. What kind of freelance work specifically? I have been editing videos for a very long time now, and I have been making money editing videos for a very long time now. It has been a fantastic way to be location independent and make some pretty good money. But I enjoy being on my feet and taking photos more. It's what I do when I'm not making money. And I want to make photography more of a money-making engine for me. So I had this idea. I'll take photos of random things around the world. People doing things with their hands, holding objects, food, mountains, landscapes that are not mountains, deserts, which are landscapes that are not mountains. I'll take photos of textures like brick and wood, and then I'll put them on a website to be distributed to other people. I will call this general photography, or like stock. It's a weird word. Why did that come to mind? Stock photography. I kid. I've actually been reaching out to different brands who have products, and what I've decided to do is take photos for them, leveraging my landscape that surrounds me here in Utah. Here in Utah, we have a lot of active cyclists, climbers, runner types. I thought, what if I run around and do what I always do, but for a company? So let me give you a practical application of this and how it's actually worked out for me. Now when I say that, it sounds like I'm giving you some sort of step-by-step guide on how to do this. I have no idea how to do this. I'm just telling you what's been happening over the past couple of weeks. I'm still learning as I go. In other words, I'm not explicitly trying to tell you how to do anything. I'm just updating you on my journey. So I thought I'll reach out to some companies who have Instagram accounts who would need this kind of photography. And I came across protein bars very quickly. The reason why protein bars are interesting is because they're a product that outdoorsy people will use, but they don't necessarily have to wear the product. It's assumed that they're using the product if it's associated with the brand. So I thought, okay, protein bar companies, let me reach out to these people. And so I reached out to a few of them, and a couple of them got back with me. This is so outrageously exciting that I'm peeing my pants continuously every 30 seconds. It's quite painful, it's very messy, and all of my relationships are really suffering because of it, except for my wife, because she accepts me for who I am. If she peed her pants every 30 seconds for forever, I would still love her. It would be strained. So I'm currently actively engaging with a couple of projects that tell me that my plan worked. So one of the brands that got back with me is Mammoth Bar. They make protein bars that are created using crickets, and they're quite delicious. So what I've been so busy doing over the past days is I've been running around in the canyons taking photos of adventurous people and handing them protein bars. I got Mammoth Bar to send me some of their bars that I could give out to people that I interact with as a thank you. Now, I'm not interacting with everybody, but I'm interacting with certain people for certain shots. It's a good idea to do that. And I thought, if I'm asking them to take part in this project, wouldn't it be nice if I can give them one of their bars as a thank you for allowing me to take their photo? And I know what you're thinking, James, you're a genius. And yes. So this project has been successful. At this point, I have all the photos I need. And I've been able to meet some interesting people and engage with them, be social, and have adrenaline rushes of walking up to strangers and taking their photos, which is something I love. One example of a really high-speed content creation session that I was able to have was I bumped into a single rock climber who was setting up the lines for climbing activities. I'm heading into the canyon this morning on a photography project. It is 9:05 a.m. My speed is 31 miles per hour. My RPMs are 2.5. Sunflowers. One of my goals is to find a couple of rock climbers. I need to cross this stream. I think I can get across that. Okay, if this leap goes bad, we'll have it on video, and that's what's important. Here we go. Okay. Whoa. Whoa. Whoa, that was a little testy. Now my theory is if I jump to here, because I don't know about that rock. If I jump to here, the worst is I'm gonna hit my face on that rock, but I won't get wet. Success. I stuck the landing. I think I go back this way now. So I made French toast this morning. And I'm okay at making French toast. My wife got the pretty ones, and I got the ugly ones. They look like, if you've ever played Halo, there is this thing called the Flood, and they looked like little pimple people. They were quite horrifying, and that's what mine looked like. But it was tasty. The egg was there and the bread was there. Okay, I just made it to the wall, and I'm freaking pumped because I ran into the person who was setting up. There was the person on the top, I believe, who was setting up the ropes. I said, hey, I'd like to take a photo of some climbing people. And she said, great, because we have a training course of women veterans that are about to show up, like 16 or 17 of them, and they're going to be climbing and learning how to climb today. And I was like, great. The only problem is I only have 5 protein bars, so we worked that little kink out. I had to manage my resources well because it's not that I only had 5 protein bars to give out to anybody. It's that I didn't want to give out all my protein bars to them because I was probably going to get about 5 successful photos out of that, and I wanted to have the protein bars for the next people I run into. So, math. So I got some great photos. The ladies were incredibly welcoming and kind, and they were also pretty hardcore. They refused to quit at trying to climb at least a little bit for some of them who that was a much harder task. And me having full access to them allowed me to have a lot of time with them, which allowed me to map out the location. So I was able to get some shots from the bottom, and then also I was able to go up to the top of the wall without climbing it, which is a unique feature of this climbing location. So now I'm making my way up to the top. That's pretty rad. I'm gonna go up to the top and scout it out. See what kind of views I can get up there. Wow. Okay, this works. I'm freaking pumped. This view is gonna be fantastic. And the sun's just coming up over the horizon. I also decided that in order to shift up my landscape, I would climb a mountain called Mount Olympus. And I've been wanting to climb this mountain. And I climbed halfway up this mountain and ran out of water and didn't have lunch with me, and I did not want them to make a movie about me and be on the news, so I figured I would turn around and come back down, but I still got some good shots out of that. Various other adventurous cycling, jogging shots at different locations as well as product shots. I also got some shots this week for that project in Idaho, which leads me to the next part of this video. I went to Idaho. Now, I must be very clear, this trip was not about potatoes, even though we did bring back 2 potatoes that we found on the side of the road. Christina saw a potato on the side of the road and she wanted it.
I got potatoes!
What are you gonna name them?
These are so perfect. I don't know. Potato? I'm not gonna...
Potato.
French and fry.
French and fry. Sounds good. I went there for another photography project with some people named Visit South Idaho. Me and my wife went there to capture content for them to share. This trip was enormous fun and unique for me and Christina because they planned our entire itinerary from where we visited to where we ate to where we sleep to the words we spoke. I'm just kidding. We were able to maintain our free speech while on this project.
I'm proud to be an American.
Our friend Katie came along with us, and she brought her dog Spaghetti, who is a good companion to our dog Cooper, and we also made some vlogs about this whole experience, and if they're out by the time I share this video, I will link to them. Now, among the places we visited for this project was Shoshone Falls, which is known as the Niagara of the West because it's very Niagara-esque in its appearance. Now, the flow of water shifts throughout the year, so sometimes it's not as Niagara-esque as other times. This is the second time I've been there. The first time I went there, it was more incredibly huge than this time, but it was still fantastic. So it's taller than Niagara Falls. Niagara Falls is, let's see, how tall is Niagara Falls? 167 feet. How tall is Shoshone Falls? 212 feet. How tall is Angel Falls? Because that one is
the highest waterfall in the world.
It is 3,212 feet. We also went to another waterfall called Coulee Falls, which is a waterfall where you can get underneath it. You can walk behind it. And it's a bit more of a ribbon of a waterfall. Very tall though. If you stand directly behind it, two things happen. One, it's exhilarating because it feels like a windy rainstorm. And two, it's mesmerizing. When you're on the front half of a waterfall, it's powerful, it's immense, it's beautiful. But when you stand behind one, it sort of puts you in a trance. I would pick a point in the falling water and just follow it all the way down, and I ascended into another dimension and woke up in Nebraska, which I would not recommend. We spent most of our time around Snake River, which is a broad river. A lot of it sits within a huge canyon. The way that you come across the Snake River Canyon is by surprise because it sits underground, meaning you're going to see flatlands for miles until you cross a bridge where there are 800-foot walls and a river at the bottom. It's amazing. So at one point we had the privilege of kayaking on the Snake River. I got some nice photos there. I don't get to do a lot of kayak photography. We paddled to this spring which connects to the Snake River, and you find bizarre landscape, and on the ground it's blue. It's like a glowing blue color. It's amazing. But my favorite part of the trip is when we ventured 2.5-ish hours away from Snake River to a place called Craters of the Moon National Monument and Preserve. For me, Idaho is the state of surprises. Snake River is one of those surprises. Craters of the Moon is another one of those surprises. Craters of the Moon was created by volcanic activity, and it's just this vast open landscape of black rocks. Much of the landscape looks like the volcanic dynamic that's a great band name, that you would see in Hawaii, except Hawaii is actively making those rocks. At one point we climbed up on what I believe was called a cinder cone, which is a place where a bunch of lava piles up into a little mountain, and it's just jet black, and climb up to the top. There's a tree on the top, a little bit of grass, some red rocks. It was fantastic. We also walked up a miniature volcano and just wandered around general lava lands. We were told that there would be lava tubes, which are caves that lava used to live in. And we're walking to these lava tubes along a windy path through a black landscape. You come across a sign that says that all lava tubes eventually collapse. And behind that sign is a collapsed lava tube. You walk a little further down that path and you get to enter a lava tube that has not yet collapsed, which is unsettling but exhilarating too. We made our way down a set of industrial looking steps onto a big pile of rocks, and I was greeted by some of the most amazing sights I've ever seen. It was a huge cave, and it's hard to communicate that hugeness with a recording device. The cave had holes in the roof where rocks have collapsed, and there would be different sections throughout the cave where you would see points of light where the rocks have collapsed into a big pile. The landscape that we had been wandering around above ground was very windy, but the second you step into the cave, there's no wind, and it's completely quiet other than the other people in the cave. The floor, the walls, the roof, they were all very jagged, and you could also see a sort of rounded tunneling on the walls, I guess, from the lava. It's one of those moments that's such a bizarre and remarkable experience. I've watched so many documentaries involving people wandering around caves, and I go, that's got to be such an amazing, such an overwhelming place to be, and it definitely is that when you're there. And I know that caves get even bigger than this. This wasn't the biggest one. Oh, check that off the list. Okay, the camera battery was about to die, which means I had to take it off of the tripod, move the whole setup, so you guys might get to see another inch of my room. I'm sure the access is overwhelming. We came back from Craters of the Moon. I believe I had a jalapeno burger that evening. Got up the next day, had some great coffee at a coffee shop and a crepe, and then we made our way to a mountain range. Drove our Honda Civic up a gravel road with large rocks, and met some horses and took a couple more photos. My wife had a company send her a blanket, so we took some nice product-esque photos of her on that, pretending that the rocks underneath it would not be terribly uncomfortable to lay on. And then we also took some photos with some hip bottles, which is another company we work with. Then we came back to Utah, and thus ends our Idaho adventure. So that's what I've been up to over the last couple of weeks. Just wanted to give you guys an update on my creative ventures. That's it for this video. I'm gonna go eat a volcano rock sandwich now. Have a lovely day. Goodbye.